Hello and welcome to Simple Country Place. I have 4 super easy, delicious meal ideas for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Welcome and enjoy. First thing I'm making is chicken with sun-dried tomato orzo. And so I have 2 chicken breasts there, and I'm seasoning them with oregano, paprika, crushed red pepper, and salt and pepper. And I'm going to just be searing those on both sides. And this is a pretty great, easy meal idea, and it's like a one-pot situation. So that is always awesome because then you have less dishes. So, like I said, searing those chicken breasts on both sides. And then once they were seared, I just removed them, and I'm adding onion, like a diced up onion, and garlic with some melted butter into that same pan. And I'm gonna let that cook for a smidge, and I'm also adding orzo in at this point and letting that, like, what do they call it, like toast, or toast, I guess, a little bit without any extra liquid in there. Once that has cooked for a smidge, I'm adding water and bouillon cubes, like a chicken broth. And then I'm also adding broccoli to this. Just fresh chopped up broccoli, as well as sun-dried tomatoes. And I just had like the ones that they weren't in a jar, they were in like a pouch. And adding that all in and letting that cook for a smidge. For flavorings, I am adding mustard and half and half, or you can use cream. I just always have half and half, so that's like the creamy aspect. And then I'm also adding shredded Parmesan cheese. Once I got that all mixed together, I put the seared chicken breasts back in there and just smushed them down there in the sauce, and I covered that and threw that in the oven and just cooked it until the chicken was cooked through. And yeah, this was my husband and my nephew really liked this. It was something different for them, and I will definitely be making it again. And like I said, super easy, one pot, and I just served that with a side salad. So on this night, I'm making just simple burgers. I have some sauteed onions there, and I'm going to be adding ground beef to that, just like a ball. And I was going to I've wanted to make like smash burgers, I thought I could do it. I mean, they turned out good. They were burgers, but they definitely weren't like the smash burger situation. But I need a cast iron or a flat top grill. But to that ground beef, I seasoned it with seasoned salt and pepper. And then I just cooked that through on both sides, and I covered it to help it to cook through. And then of course I added cheese, covered it again for the cheese to melt. And then I just cut up some toppings. We like California burgers in my house. So I had lettuce, tomato, pickles, and like usually I would have onions, but obviously there were sauteed onions with that. And yeah, served that all on a hamburger sweet onion roll, bun, whatever you want to call it. And I served that with just some oven baked potatoes, or oven like cubed potatoes that I make all the time. And yeah, my husband really liked it. It's classic, can't go wrong with burgers. On this night, I'm making like a mac and cheese hot dish with summer sausage. So I have some melted butter that I'm gonna saute some bell peppers and onions in and get those cooking down a little bit. Once those have cooked for a while, I'm adding some cut up summer sausage. I was gonna like make this with like ground sausage, but I had excess amounts of summer sausage, so I decided to why not use that. And so I cut that up, threw that in, and then I didn't film this part just honestly because I forgot, but I did make like a roux with flour, and then added half and half for like a cream sauce. And I seasoned it with ground mustard and cayenne like I normally do when I make mac and cheese. And then I threw in some shredded cheddar cheese and let that melt. And as you can see, it melted very quickly. And then I removed that from the stove. And I had also cooked on the side some penne noodles. That was just what I had. You can use any type of noodles you want. So to a baking dish, I added the noodles, or some of the noodles, and the sauce, mixed that around. And then I seasoned that with oregano and black pepper. And then I topped that with a part of a can of drained diced tomatoes with green chilies. And then some shredded cheese on top of that. And then I just repeated those layers I did. All of the same things once again. And then once I had all the layers done, I just covered that and put that in the oven and cooked it for, I don't know, however long it took for all the things to come together. The meat was cooked, the noodles were cooked, so it was just heating and melting essentially. And I served that with steamed California blend vegetables. And yeah, my husband really enjoyed this. My brother was over this night. He liked it too, as did my nephew. I mean, it's just kind of like a fancy mac and cheese with summer sausage. On this day, I made Sloppy Joe grilled cheese sandwiches. And so I have some ground beef that I'm just browning up, and I added bell pepper and onion to that. Sometimes I add bell pepper, sometimes I don't. I almost always add onion regardless if I add bell pepper or not. But at this point, I added salt and pepper for seasonings, and then just a little bit of ranch seasoning too, and let that all brown, like the meat brown and the veggies cook together. So once that meat was cooked through, I added ground mustard and crushed red pepper for seasonings, and then for like the Sloppy Joe sauce, added brown sugar, ketchup, and mustard. And you'll see that I added some brown sugar and then the other stuff, and then I ended up adding more brown sugar. I always just go off of like sight usually, like I can tell like when the sauce looks correct, just because I make this quite a bit. And then I also added apple cider vinegar. Sometimes I add that, sometimes I don't. Just depends on my mood at the moment. And so yeah, I did throw in a little bit of that this time. And I let all the sauce come together, and then I just let it like simmer for, the meat to soak up the sauce. So once the sauce and the meat have kind of come together, now I am just constructing the grilled cheese aspect. So I have some melted butter. That's how I always make grilled cheeses. Melt butter in the pan, put the bread down, the cheese, then the meat in this case, and then more cheese on top. And yeah, let that cook on both sides and crisp up. And I actually had two of my other nephews were over this day, not the one that lives with us, but two additional ones. And one of them was one that requested this. Like they were hungry and they wanted me to make, it was like kind of a late lunch, early supper. And I was like, yeah, what do you want? And they're like, can you make Sloppy Joe grilled cheeses? So that is why I made that. But yeah, I just served that with, again, some of those oven baked potatoes and some pickles. And they all very much enjoyed it. It was a crowd pleaser per their request. So thank you so much for watching. Please come back for future videos.